What if I told you that failing is the best thing that could ever happen to you? That every time you fall, you are actually getting closer to success. I know it sounds crazy. Society has conditioned us to fear failure, to see it as something embarrassing, something to avoid at all costs. But let me ask you, how many of the most successful people in the world do you think got it right on their first try? The answer is none. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company before he changed the world with Apple. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team before he became a legend. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. A secret: they never let failure stop them. They used it, they learned from it, and they came back stronger. So if you've ever failed, congratulations, you're on the right path. But here's the catch. You have to know how to use your failure to fuel your success. Stay with me, because by the end of this speech, you'll never see failure the same way again. Failure is often seen as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. But in reality, failure is the most powerful teacher you will ever encounter. Every time you fail, you are given an opportunity to learn something new, to improve, and to come back stronger. The lessons that come from failure are far more valuable than any that come from success, because success only confirms what you already know, while failure forces you to grow. Think about the times you failed in life, whether it was in business, relationships, or personal goals. Those failures likely revealed weaknesses you weren't aware of. They showed you what didn't work, exposed flaws in your approach, and pushed you to rethink your strategies. Without these experiences, improvement would be impossible. Failure forces you to reflect, analyze, and make necessary changes. It is a process of refinement that cannot happen without setbacks. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He famously failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb, but he never saw those attempts as failures. Instead, he viewed each one as a step closer to his goal, a necessary experiment that brought him new insights. He understood that every mistake carried a lesson, and those lessons compounded over time to lead him to success. The same principle applies to every area of life. If you never experience failure, you never develop the resilience and problem-solving skills necessary for long-term success. Failure forces you to adapt. It challenges you to think in ways you never would have if everything went smoothly. It is through failure that you build character, persistence, and creativity. Those who achieve great things are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who learn from their failures and use them to fuel their progress. The way you perceive failure determines how it impacts your life. Many people see failure as a final verdict, a sign that they are not good enough or that they should give up. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey toward it. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of failure, but the way they respond to it. Instead of treating failure as a dead end, successful people see it as feedback, a necessary part of growth that helps them refine their approach. When something doesn't go as planned, it is easy to feel discouraged, but those moments carry the greatest potential for learning. Every failed attempt reveals something new about what works and what doesn't. It forces you to rethink your strategies, improve your methods, and try again with more knowledge than before. This process of trial and error is how mastery is built. If you shift your mindset to view failure as a stepping stone rather than a setback, it no longer feels like something to fear. Instead, it becomes an essential part of progress. Consider how children learn to walk. They stumble, fall, and get back up repeatedly until they develop the strength and coordination needed to move forward. They do not stop trying because they fail once or twice. They instinctively understand that falling is part of learning. The same principle applies to every aspect of life. If you approach failure with a mindset of curiosity and resilience, each setback becomes an opportunity for growth. The most successful individuals in history are those who embraced failure, learned from it, and used it to push themselves forward rather than allowing it to hold them back. Every great success story has one thing in common: failure. The most accomplished people in history did not reach the top because they never failed. They succeeded because they refused to let failure define them. Instead of seeing their setbacks as signs to quit, they treated them as stepping stones towards something greater. The path to success is rarely a straight line. It is filled with obstacles, wrong turns, and moments of doubt. What separates those who achieve greatness from those who give up is their ability to see failure as a temporary detour rather than a permanent roadblock. History is filled with examples of people who failed repeatedly before achieving incredible success. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination before creating one of the most successful entertainment empires in the world. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television before becoming one of the most influential media personalities in history. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was cut from his high school team. These individuals could have accepted failure as the end of their journey, but instead they used it as fuel to push forward. Failure does not mean you are not talented or capable. It simply means you have not yet found the right approach. Many people stop trying the moment they face resistance, assuming that failure is proof they are not meant to succeed. In reality, failure is proof that you are trying, experimenting, and moving forward. The more times you fail, the closer you get to finding the strategy that works. Success is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about learning from them, adjusting your course, and continuing to push forward despite the setbacks. The fear of failure is often more damaging than failure itself. It paralyzes people, keeping them stuck in their comfort zones, afraid to take risks or try something new. This fear is what stops many from ever starting, from ever chasing their dreams, and from ever discovering their true potential. The reality is that failure itself is not what holds people back. It is the fear of it. When people let this fear control them, they avoid challenges, settle for less than they are capable of, and remain in the same place while others move forward. Failure is temporary, but the regret of never trying can last a lifetime. Many people choose security over possibility, not because they lack talent or ability, but because they are too afraid to face setbacks. The irony is that in trying to avoid failure, they end up failing in a different way. They fail to grow, to experience new opportunities, and to reach their full potential. Those who achieve success are not necessarily the smartest or most talented. They are the ones who are willing to take risks despite the possibility of failing. They understand that failure is not the worst thing that can happen. Not trying at all is. Every great achievement requires stepping into uncertainty. Whether it is starting a business, learning a new skill, or pursuing a passion, there is always the possibility of failure. But what if, instead of fearing it, people embraced it? What if they saw failure as a necessary step rather than something to avoid? The truth is, the only way to guarantee failure is to do nothing at all. Those who succeed are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who refuse to let the fear of failure stop them from trying. Failure does more than teach lessons. It builds resilience, shapes character, and strengthens the mindset needed for long-term success. Every setback, every disappointment, and every mistake contributes to the development of perseverance and mental toughness. People who never experience failure do not develop the strength required to handle challenges. And when they eventually face difficulties, they are more likely to give up. Those who encounter failure repeatedly, however, learn to push through adversity, adapt to new circumstances, and find ways to overcome obstacles. It is through these struggles that they build the determination necessary to succeed. Resilience is not something people are born with. It is something developed through experience. The more a person faces failure and keeps moving forward, the stronger they become. Every failure is an opportunity to test limits, to prove that setbacks are temporary, and to reinforce the mindset that obstacles can be overcome. Without failure, there is no growth. Without struggle, there is no improvement. Those who achieve great things are not the ones who had an easy path, but the ones who learned to navigate difficulties with persistence and courage. Failure also forces creativity and innovation. When something does not work, it challenges the mind to find a new solution, to approach the problem from a different angle, and to think beyond the obvious. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came from people who failed so many times that they had no choice but to try something different. That ability to adapt and find new solutions is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. The process of overcoming failure shapes individuals into stronger, wiser, and more capable versions of themselves, preparing them for even greater challenges and opportunities ahead. If you take only one thing from this speech, let it be this: failure is not your enemy. It is your greatest ally. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every time you fall, you have two choices: stay down or get up stronger. The people who succeed are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to quit. So go out there, fail, learn, grow, succeed, because failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is the key to success.